A forest steeped in mystery nestled deep within the heart of America's vast wilderness lies a forest unlike any other, a place where ancient trees twist skyward, their gnarled branches forming an impenetrable canopy that blots out the sun. Known to locals as the Whispering Woods, this sprawling expanse has earned its reputation as the most haunted forest in the United States. Its dense foliage and shadowy undergrowth create an atmosphere of perpetual twilight, even at midday, while the air is heavy with an eerie stillness that seems to muffle all but the faintest sounds. Every step taken on its moss-covered trails feels like treading on sacred ground, or perhaps cursed soil. The forest's history is as tangled as its roots. For centuries, it has been home to indigenous tribes who revered it as a spiritual sanctuary, a place where the veil between worlds was said to be thinnest. Oral traditions speak of rituals conducted beneath the moonlight, offerings left for unseen entities, and warnings passed down through generations to avoid certain areas altogether. European settlers later arrived, bringing with them tales of witches, cursed artifacts, and ghostly apparitions that only added to the forest's foreboding aura. Over time, these stories intertwined with first-hand accounts from explorers, hunters, and campers who claimed to have witnessed inexplicable phenomena, flashes of light darting between trees, disembodied whispers echoing through empty clearings, or fleeting shadows that vanished when pursued. Today, the Whispering Woods remains a paradoxical draw for thrill-seekers and paranormal enthusiasts alike. While some are lured by curiosity, others enter seeking answers to questions they dare not voice aloud. Yet despite its allure, few venture beyond its outer edges after dusk. Those who do often return with tales too unsettling to dismiss. As we peel back the layers of this spectral woodland, one thing becomes clear: something unnatural resides here, lurking just beyond the edge of perception, waiting for the unwary to cross into its domain. Among the countless souls who have dared to tread the Whispering Woods' winding paths, none have emerged unscathed by its haunting grip. Take Sarah Caldwell, a seasoned hiker from nearby Salem, whose account remains one of the most chilling. On what she expected to be a routine afternoon hike, Sarah found herself disoriented after taking a wrong turn onto an unmarked trail. She described hearing faint murmurs, whispers so soft they seemed carried on the wind, yet unmistakably human. Turning to find the source, she saw nothing but empty shadows. Panic set in as the voices grew louder, overlapping in a cacophony of pleas and warnings until she stumbled upon a clearing. There, she swore she saw figures cloaked in mist, their forms flickering like candle flames before vanishing entirely. Terrified, Sarah fled, emerging hours later at the forest's edge, her camera capturing strange orbs hovering eerily in several photos. Then there's James Hargrove, a local historian investigating old settler legends, who ventured deeper than most. His journal entries paint a harrowing picture: cold spots that froze his breath mid-air, branches snapping behind him though no creature stirred, and a recurring sensation of being watched. One night, camping alone near an abandoned cabin, he claims to have seen a woman dressed in tattered 19th-century garb standing silently outside his tent. Her face was pale, her eyes hollow, and though she never spoke, James felt her presence sear into his memory. When he tried to photograph her, the camera malfunctioned, producing only static-filled images. Days later, researchers examining the site discovered remnants of a pioneer-era settlement, and records of a young woman who had disappeared under mysterious circumstances over a century ago. These encounters are far from isolated. Countless reports echo similar themes: sightings of spectral figures wandering aimlessly, disembodied cries piercing the silence, and objects moving without explanation. Together, these stories weave a tapestry of terror, suggesting that the boundaries between our world and another realm grow perilously thin within the forest's confines. Each tale adds weight to the belief that the Whispering Woods harbors spirits unwilling, or unable, to move on. Perhaps the most unnerving aspect of the Whispering Woods is its grim history of disappearances, people entering its depths only to vanish without explanation, leaving behind unanswered questions and shattered families. In 1923, a group of 6 Boy Scouts embarked on what was supposed to be a weekend camping trip. They were last seen setting up tents near the northern edge of the forest, laughing and roasting marshmallows over a crackling fire. By dawn, their campsite was deserted, save for smoldering embers and scattered belongings. Despite exhaustive searches involving hundreds of volunteers and specially trained dogs, no trace of the boys was ever found. Their disappearance became national news, fueling speculation about predators, kidnappings, or worse, though none of these theories could account for the complete absence of evidence. Decades later, in 1987, a similar fate befell Emily Carter, a college student known for her love of solo hikes. Her car was discovered parked neatly along the forest's main access road, keys still in the ignition, with no signs of struggle or foul play. Inside, authorities found her backpack containing water, snacks, and a map marked with her intended route. Search teams combed the area meticulously, but aside from a single hiking boot located miles away from where she likely entered, Emily simply ceased to exist. Some whispered of supernatural forces at work, citing peculiar details: the lack of footprints leading away from the vehicle, the eerie calmness of the surrounding woods during the search, and reports of strange lights spotted hovering above the treetops the night she went missing. More recently, in 2015, a family of 4 vanished while attempting to retrace an old wagon trail rumored to cut through the heart of the forest. Unlike previous cases, their disappearance occurred during broad daylight, making it all the more baffling. Witnesses reported seeing them pause briefly near a particularly dense thicket before continuing onward. That was the last anyone saw of them. Search efforts uncovered cryptic clues: an antique locket buried shallowly in the dirt, pages torn from a journal describing vivid nightmares experienced within the forest, but nothing concrete enough to explain their fate. Each case shares eerie similarities: abrupt disappearances, minimal physical evidence, and an overwhelming sense of finality. These incidents have left investigators grasping at straws, unable to reconcile such occurrences with logic or reason. For many, the answer lies beyond the natural world, pointing to darker forces at play within the Whispering Woods, a place where reality itself seems to unravel. Beyond the personal testimonies and documented disappearances, the Whispering Woods offers a plethora of unexplainable phenomena that defy rational comprehension. Visitors frequently report experiencing sudden drops in temperature, creating icy pockets amidst the otherwise temperate forest. These cold spots are often accompanied by an oppressive silence, as if nature itself holds its breath. Electronic devices behave erratically within the woods, compasses spin wildly, GPS systems fail, and cameras capture inexplicable anomalies: shadowy figures darting across frames or glowing orbs hovering silently in the air. Sound, too, plays tricks on those who dare to listen closely. The forest seems alive with noises that cannot be attributed to wildlife or weather: faint laughter echoing from nowhere, footsteps crunching leaves when no one is around, and distant wails that send shivers down spines. At night, the darkness amplifies these auditory hallucinations, blending them seamlessly with the rustling leaves and snapping twigs. Many claim to feel an invisible presence trailing them, a sensation so palpable it drives even the bravest souls to flee. Perhaps most disturbing are the accounts of time distortions. Hikers recount losing entire hours without realizing it, emerging from the forest disoriented and convinced only minutes have passed. Others describe encountering landmarks they swore were miles apart mere moments ago, as if the very fabric of space bends unpredictably within the woods. Together, these phenomena paint a portrait of a place where the laws of physics falter, hinting at forces far beyond human understanding, a liminal space teetering precariously between worlds. To fully grasp the haunting essence of the Whispering Woods, one must delve into the rich tapestry of legends and lore woven by those who came before. Indigenous tribes once revered this land as a sacred nexus, believing it to be a portal bridging the mortal realm with the spirit world. Elders spoke of Manitou, powerful spirits dwelling among the ancient trees, guiding or cursing travelers based on their intentions. Rituals performed under specific lunar phases were said to invoke visions, some illuminating, others terrifying, but all attesting to the forest's supernatural potency. European settlers brought their own tales, steeped in superstition and fear. Stories of witch covens hiding within the woods proliferated, fueled by sightings of hooded figures gathering around bonfires deep in the night. Locals whispered of cursed artifacts buried beneath the soil, relics imbued with malevolent energy capable of ensnaring unwary souls. One enduring legend tells of a spectral huntsman who roams endlessly, seeking vengeance for a betrayal centuries old. His mournful howl echoes through the trees, a harbinger of doom for those who hear it. Modern folklore adds new layers to the forest's mystique. As we conclude our journey through the Whispering Woods, one truth becomes undeniable. This forest defies the boundaries of the natural world. From the spine-chilling accounts of spectral encounters to the unexplained disappearances and eerie phenomena, every path leads deeper into a realm where logic falters and the supernatural reigns. Whether you approach these tales as a skeptic or believer, the sheer weight of evidence, both anecdotal and documented, forces contemplation of forces beyond human comprehension. The Whispering Woods stands as a testament to humanity's enduring fascination with the unknown, a place where fear and wonder converge in equal measure. As you leave its shadowy embrace, remember, some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, their secrets forever entwined with the whispers of the trees. Creatures of the night, the forest's most feared entities, known as the shadow stalkers, are described with a chilling consistency by those who have survived their encounters. These beings stand tall, often towering over human height, cloaked in an impenetrable veil of darkness that seems to consume the light around them. Their presence is marked not only by their unsettling appearance, but also by an immediate and overwhelming drop in temperature, creating an icy aura that permeates the air. This cold is not merely physical, it seeps into the bones and psyche of those nearby, instilling a profound sense of dread and helplessness. Witnesses recount the unnerving fluidity of the shadow stalker's movements, which defy conventional understanding. They glide between trees with an eerie silence, their forms almost liquid-like, as if they are part of the shadows themselves. Despite their lack of discernible features, victims report feeling an invasive gaze, intense and penetrating, as though these creatures can see beyond the surface, peering directly into the soul. This gaze leaves survivors with a lingering sense of violation, a memory too vivid to dismiss as mere imagination. The behavior of the shadow stalkers suggests a calculated malevolence. Unlike random acts of terror, these entities appear to orchestrate their attacks with deliberate precision. They begin by stalking their prey, maintaining a careful distance while observing every move. This methodical approach increases the psychological torment, as victims become acutely aware of being watched and hunted. The shadow stalkers' tactics are designed not just to instill fear but to break the spirit of their quarry before making any physical contact. It's this blend of stealth and psychological warfare that makes the shadow stalkers particularly terrifying predators within the haunted expanse of the forest. Sarah Linwood, a seasoned park ranger accustomed to the solitude and silence of the forest, found herself face to face with the enigmatic shadow stalkers during a routine night patrol. Initially dismissing her unease as mere paranoia sparked by the forest's notoriously eerie ambience, Sarah soon found her instincts screaming warnings she couldn't ignore. As dusk deepened into night, subtle yet sinister disturbances began manifesting around her. Branches snapped in eerie synchronization with her footsteps, and leaves rustled inexplicably where no wind could reach. Her flashlight beam revealed nothing but dense foliage, yet the sensation of being watched grew unbearable. The turning point came when Sarah turned her flashlight toward a sound, a soft, whispery movement among the trees, and saw it. A towering silhouette emerged from the shadows, so dark it seemed to absorb the surrounding light. Its head tilted slightly, studying her with an invisible gaze that felt like a physical weight pressing down on her chest. Panic surged through her, but years of training kicked in. She fired a flare gun skyward, bathing the area in harsh red light. Instantly, the figure vanished, leaving behind an oppressive silence more daunting than its presence. However, relief was fleeting. Moments later, distinct footsteps echoed around her, closing in from all directions. Each step reverberated through the forest floor, sending shivers up her spine. Realizing she was surrounded, Sarah abandoned caution and ran, her heart pounding wildly. She crashed through underbrush, branches clawing at her skin, until finally breaking free from the encircling menace. Though physically unscathed, the mental scars remained, etched deeply by the calculated terror of the entities that had toyed with her psyche. Sarah's account provides a vivid illustration of how these shadowy predators operate, not merely as hunters but as architects of fear, manipulating their environment and their prey's perceptions to maximize terror. Her survival hinged not just on physical endurance but on her ability to act decisively against unseen foes whose motives remain as elusive as their forms. Alex Martinez, a spirited leader among his peers, had always been drawn to the thrill of adventure. His decision to explore the haunted forest stemmed from youthful bravado and a desire to prove himself amidst whispers of its supernatural infamy. Alongside him were 4 other college students, each eager to debunk the myths or perhaps secretly hoping to encounter something extraordinary. Little did they know, their curiosity would lead them into the clutches of the shadow stalkers. As night enveloped the forest, an unsettling calm settled over their campsite. The initial hours passed without incident, allowing skepticism to bloom among the group. However, as midnight approached, the atmosphere shifted palpably. It started with faint noises, branches snapping, leaves rustling, emanating from the periphery of their vision. At first dismissed as nocturnal wildlife, these sounds soon took on a rhythmic pattern, mimicking the cadence of their own movements. Tension mounted when one student, unable to sleep, swore he saw claw-like appendages reaching out from the darkness, brushing against his sleeping bag before retreating. Panic rippled through the group as another reported waking to find eerie scratch marks carved into a nearby tree, forming what looked like distorted faces. These incidents escalated rapidly. The shadow stalkers began to close in, their presence announced by a chilling symphony of guttural growls and clicks resonating through the woods. The situation reached a crescendo when one member disappeared abruptly, his absence punctuated by a blood-curdling scream that froze the blood of those remaining. Paralyzed by fear, the group's cohesion shattered. In a desperate bid for survival, they fled, abandoning their gear in the chaos. Only 2 managed to escape the forest alive, their minds fractured by the horrors witnessed. The ordeal left indelible marks on their psyches, serving as grim reminders of the malevolent intelligence that lurked within the shadows, preying on human fear with calculated precision. Experts in paranormal research have attempted to categorize the shadow stalkers by drawing comparisons to mythological entities and psychological theories. One prominent theory likens these creatures to the Wendigo of Algonquian folklore, a malevolent spirit born from acts of cannibalism and starvation. Like the Wendigo, the shadow stalkers are depicted as gaunt, towering figures driven by an insatiable hunger for human flesh, embodying the ultimate taboo against consuming one's kin. This parallel is further supported by the shadow stalkers' predatory behavior and the pervasive aura of dread they emit, reminiscent of the Wendigo's reputation for inducing madness and despair. Alternatively, some researchers propose that the shadow stalkers may represent manifestations of collective fear and guilt, amplified by the forest's supernatural properties. According to this interpretation, these entities serve as external projections of humanity's darkest impulses, fear, aggression, and primal survival instincts, given form by the unique energies of the haunted expanse. The forest, acting as a liminal space between worlds, might distort and magnify these emotions, creating sentient embodiments of terror that prey on intruders. This theory aligns with the shadow stalkers' apparent intelligence and strategic behavior, suggesting they are not merely mindless beasts but constructs shaped by the subconscious fears of those who enter their domain. Regardless of their origins, one undeniable truth remains: the shadow stalkers exist to instill abject terror. Whether remnants of ancient curses or reflections of humanity's inner demons, their purpose is singular: to hunt, torment, and dominate their prey, ensuring that the forest retains its reputation as a realm of unrelenting dread. The shadow stalkers are not merely instinct-driven predators. Their behavior exhibits a disturbing level of intelligence and coordination that sets them apart from other mythical entities. Witnesses frequently describe instances where these creatures appear to communicate with one another, using low, guttural growls and sharp, staccato clicks that reverberate through the forest like an alien language. These vocalizations seem deliberate, often preceding changes in their tactics or signaling shifts in their formation. For example, one survivor recounted hearing a series of rhythmic clicks moments before the shadow stalkers altered their positions, flanking him from multiple directions and cutting off potential escape routes. Such behavior suggests a sophisticated system of communication, indicating that these entities are capable of strategizing and adapting in real-time. In another harrowing account, A lone hiker described being cornered by 3 shadow stalkers who moved in synchronized patterns, their fluid motions eerily precise. Just as he prepared to make a desperate dash for freedom, the largest of the figures raised a limb-like appendage and emitted a piercing shriek. The sound was deafening, reverberating through the trees and momentarily disorienting the hiker. To his astonishment, the other 2 figures retreated into the shadows, leaving him shaken but alive. This calculated display of intimidation, forcing him to confront the inevitability of capture before granting him a reprieve, underscores the shadow stalker's deliberate cruelty. It was not enough to subdue their prey, they sought to shatter his will, leaving him psychologically scarred even after escaping their grasp. These accounts paint a chilling picture of predators who operate with chilling efficiency, their actions guided by an uncanny awareness of their victims' vulnerabilities. The shadow stalkers do not rely solely on brute force or surprise. Instead, they manipulate fear itself, exploiting it as a weapon to dismantle resistance. Their intelligence is evident in their ability to anticipate movements, adapt to changing circumstances, and execute coordinated attacks that leave their prey with no clear path to safety. This predatory precision elevates them from mere specters of the forest to something far more sinister, calculated architects of terror, whose every move is designed to prolong suffering and amplify despair. Unveiling the forest's dark secrets, the presence of the shadow stalkers raises profound questions about the nature of evil and its manifestation within the haunted forest. Are these entities remnants of ancient curses, bound to the land by forgotten rituals or tragic events? Or do they emerge from the darker recesses of human consciousness, given form by the forest's unique energies? Some speculate that the shadow stalkers are trapped spirits, cursed to roam the forest as punishment for past transgressions, feeding on fear to sustain their existence. Others suggest they are products of collective guilt and unresolved trauma, drawn to the forest as a conduit for humanity's buried sins. Regardless of their origins, their actions reveal a chilling truth. The forest amplifies the essence of malevolence, transforming it into tangible, predatory forces. This interplay between the supernatural and psychological underscores the forest's dual role as both a physical space and a liminal realm where boundaries blur. The shadow stalkers thrive in this ambiguity, embodying the raw, unfiltered essence of fear and violence. They are not confined by morality or reason. Their sole purpose is to instill terror, reducing their victims to primal states of panic and helplessness. This relentless pursuit of domination reveals a fundamental aspect of their nature. They are not just hunters but manifestations of pure, unrelenting evil. For those who dare to enter the forest, the implications are stark. The shadow stalkers are not figments of imagination or fleeting apparitions. They are sentient forces with a defined purpose: to prey on the living. Every step taken within the forest carries the weight of this reality, reminding intruders that the shadows are not empty. They are alive, watching, waiting, and ready to strike. The forest's unseen predators are a testament to the fragility of human courage in the face of true malevolence, a chilling reminder that some places are best left undisturbed. The vanishing of Henry Graves. A pioneer's unraveling. Henry Graves' disappearance in the early 20th century stands as one of the earliest and most perplexing cases tied to the haunted forest. A seasoned lumberjack with decades of experience navigating its dense terrain, Graves was no stranger to solitude or danger. On the morning of October 15, 1923, he set out from his cabin with a clear mission: to scout potential logging sites deep within the forest's interior. His tools were simple: a sturdy axe, a canteen filled with water, and a hand-drawn map, but his confidence was unshakable. Friends later recounted that Graves had laughed off warnings about the forest's eerie reputation, dismissing them as superstition peddled by overly imaginative locals. "It's just trees," he reportedly said. "Nothing out there but wood and dirt." What followed remains a chilling enigma. By sundown, Graves had not returned home, prompting an immediate search effort led by his fellow loggers. For weeks, teams combed the forest, calling his name and scanning the underbrush for signs of his presence. Yet the only evidence they uncovered was a scattering of mundane items near a dried-up creek bed: a rusted axe head, fragments of torn clothing, and a leather-bound journal containing sparse entries detailing his progress through the woods. Oddly, None of these artifacts bore any indication of struggle: no bloodstains, no claw marks, no scorch marks from fire. It was as though Graves had simply dropped what he carried and walked away, leaving behind no trace of his final moments. The mystery deepened decades later when archaeologists exploring the same region unearthed a rusted metal flask engraved with the initials HG, buried beneath the gnarled roots of an ancient oak tree. The discovery sparked renewed interest in Graves' case, yet it raised more questions than answers. How had the flask traveled so far from the original search area? Why had it been concealed so deliberately? And perhaps most hauntingly, why had Graves chosen to bury it in the first place? Some theorize that the act itself may have been symbolic, an attempt to leave behind a marker before succumbing to forces beyond his control. Others suggest more sinister possibilities, speculating that Graves might have been compelled to part with personal belongings as part of some ritualistic exchange demanded by the forest's unseen inhabitants. Whatever the truth, the flask serves as a grim relic of a man who vanished without explanation, swallowed whole by the shadowy expanse he once claimed to know so well. The college students' fateful expedition in 2015, a group of 4 college students ventured into the forest, equipped with modern technology and a spirit of adventure. Their journey began with laughter and excitement, capturing photos and videos of the lush greenery and serene landscapes. However, their trip took a dark turn on the second night when an unexpected storm forced them to relocate their campsite deeper into the woods. As the storm raged, GPS devices faltered, and the thick canopy above blocked satellite signals, plunging them into disorienting darkness. By morning, the group was nowhere to be found. Search operations ensued, utilizing advanced technology like drones and infrared cameras, but yielded no results. Weeks passed before a breakthrough occurred: the discovery of one student's smartphone wedged between 2 boulders near a secluded waterfall. The device contained corrupted files and eerie audio clips featuring voices speaking in unknown languages, adding a layer of supernatural suspicion to their disappearance. This incident not only baffled investigators but also heightened fears among locals about the unpredictable and potentially otherworldly dangers lurking within the forest. The forest's unyielding grip, challenges beyond comprehension. Search and rescue operations within the haunted forest are plagued by phenomena that defy conventional logic, rendering even the most sophisticated tools and strategies ineffective. Compasses, typically reliable instruments for navigation, behave erratically, spinning wildly or pointing in nonsensical directions. Experienced teams report feeling disoriented despite following predetermined paths, only to find themselves circling back to the same location repeatedly. Maps become useless as landmarks shift inexplicably. Trails marked one day vanish overnight, replaced by dense thickets or impassable tangles of roots. The very ground seems alive, swallowing footprints mere moments after they're made, erasing any trace of passage. These anomalies create an environment where every step forward feels like a leap into uncertainty, and every decision carries the weight of potential failure. Equally unsettling are the temporal distortions reported by rescuers and survivors alike. Time appears to stretch unnaturally within the forest, with minutes stretching into hours, or vice versa, without warning. A team might enter at dawn, confident of completing their sweep by midday, only to emerge hours later under a starless sky, bewildered by the sudden passage of time. Such disruptions leave search parties physically and mentally drained, their sense of urgency dulled by the relentless ambiguity of their surroundings. Hypotheses abound regarding these phenomena, ranging from geomagnetic interference caused by ley lines to interdimensional portals opening sporadically within the forest's boundaries. While either theory has been conclusively proven, both underscore the harrowing possibility that those who vanish may not merely be lost. They may have been pulled into realms beyond human comprehension, their fates sealed in dimensions inaccessible to rescue efforts. Margaret Ellis's ordeal offers a rare glimpse into the psychological toll inflicted by the haunted forest, as well as the cryptic nature of its influence. In 2018, the freelance photographer entered the woods armed with her camera, intent on capturing its natural beauty. 3 days later, she was found wandering along a remote dirt road, miles from her last known location, her equipment abandoned and her mind fractured. Though physically unharmed, Margaret exhibited symptoms of profound dissociation, muttering incoherently about the watchers and refusing to make eye contact. Her behavior puzzled medical professionals, who diagnosed her with acute dissociative amnesia, attributing her fragmented memories to extreme stress-induced hallucinations. Under hypnosis, however, Margaret recounted a surreal narrative that defied rational explanation. She described being drawn into a labyrinthine network of underground tunnels illuminated by bioluminescent fungi, their glow casting eerie shadows on jagged walls. Pursued relentlessly by shadowy figures who communicated telepathically, she claimed they demanded she surrender her essence, a vague yet deeply personal concept she struggled to articulate. Psychiatrists dismiss these accounts as manifestations of trauma, yet skeptics point to uncanny parallels between her story and other survivor testimonies. Could these shared elements hint at a kernel of truth buried beneath layers of psychological distress? Or do they reflect the forest's ability to imprint its victims with collective nightmares, blurring the line between reality and delusion? The ripple effects of the forest's disappearances extend far beyond the immediate families of the missing, embedding themselves deeply into the fabric of surrounding communities. Parents, gripped by dread, pass down tales of vanished wanderers as cautionary bedtime stories, instilling fear in their children from an early age. Local schools incorporate lessons about the forest's dangers into their curriculum, ensuring that even the youngest residents grow up wary of its allure. Businesses suffer as tourists, deterred by its ominous reputation, avoid the area entirely, leaving once thriving enterprises struggling to survive. Seasoned outdoorsmen, accustomed to challenging terrains, approach the forest with palpable unease, aware that their expertise offers no protection against forces they cannot comprehend. This pervasive atmosphere of fear and loss transforms the forest from a mere geographical feature into a living specter, haunting the lives of all who dwell nearby. For investigators, the challenge of unraveling these disappearances lies not only in solving individual cases but in reconciling the mounting evidence with conventional explanations. Traditional search and rescue protocols falter in the face of phenomena that defy logic, forcing authorities to adapt their strategies or risk failure. Meanwhile, paranormal researchers flock to the site, hoping to uncover proof of supernatural involvement. Their findings, though controversial, have sparked debates about the intersection of science and the unexplained, challenging us to expand our understanding of reality. Whether driven by curiosity, skepticism, or desperation, these efforts underscore humanity's enduring quest to pierce the veil of mystery shrouding the forest, and to reclaim, if possible, those it has taken. Ultimately, the haunted forest's insatiable appetite for human life serves as a stark reminder of its power and unpredictability. Each disappearance chips away at the illusion of control, forcing us to confront the limits of human knowledge and resilience. Whether the victims are claimed by malevolent entities, trapped in alternate dimensions, or subjected to some other unfathomable fate, the outcome remains the same: silence. And in that silence lies the forest's greatest terror, the realization that, for all our advances, there are still corners of the world that refuse to yield their secrets, no matter how hard we try to uncover them. The geological puzzle, infrasound and piezoelectric mysteries at the heart of the forest's enigmatic reputation lies its unique geology. A labyrinth of fault lines and mineral-rich soil that has captured the attention of researchers seeking to rationalize its haunting phenomena. Geologists have identified a web of tectonic activity beneath the forest, creating conditions ripe for the generation of infrasound waves, low-frequency vibrations below the threshold of human hearing. These waves, though imperceptible to the ear, can profoundly affect the body and mind. Studies conducted in other regions with similar geological features have demonstrated that prolonged exposure to infrasound can induce feelings of dread, anxiety, and even hallucinations. This raises a compelling question: could the eerie sensations reported by visitors, the sense of being watched, the phantom whispers, the overwhelming unease, be physiological responses to these invisible seismic forces? Adding another layer of complexity is the forest soil composition, rich in quartz and other piezoelectric materials known to amplify electromagnetic fields. Quartz crystals, under pressure, generate electric charges, a property that could explain the frequent malfunctions of electronic devices within the forest. Hikers recount tales of compasses spinning wildly and GPS units failing abruptly, leaving them disoriented and vulnerable. While skeptics dismiss these occurrences as mere environmental quirks, others see them as evidence of an interplay between natural forces and human perception. The combination of infrasound and piezoelectric effects creates an environment where the boundaries of reality blur, transforming ordinary sensory experiences into something far more unsettling. Together, these geological factors form the foundation of a scientific framework that challenges us to reconsider how the physical world shapes our encounters with the unknown. The ley line hypothesis. Mapping energetic pathways. Paranormal investigators, undeterred by conventional explanations, have turned their focus to the forest's purported energetic properties. Drawing inspiration from ancient beliefs about ley lines, mystical channels thought to connect sacred sites. According to this hypothesis, the forest sits atop a nexus where multiple ley lines converge, creating a spiritual vortex that amplifies supernatural activity. To test this theory, research teams armed with electromagnetic field (EMF) meters and thermal imaging cameras have conducted systematic sweeps of the area. Their findings are intriguing. Anomalous spikes in EMF readings consistently correlate with locations tied to high concentrations of reported hauntings. These fluctuations often coincide with sudden drops in temperature, commonly referred to as cold spots, which are a hallmark of paranormal lore. While skeptics attribute such phenomena to natural processes, such as shifts in airflow or moisture levels, the proponents of the ley line hypothesis argue that they represent tangible evidence of otherworldly energies interacting with the physical realm. For instance, thermal imaging cameras have captured fleeting heat signatures resembling human forms, only for them to vanish upon closer inspection. Similarly, audio recording devices have picked up faint murmurs and indistinct voices in areas devoid of any living presence. These anomalies fuel speculation about the existence of entities operating beyond the constraints of conventional physics. Though lacking definitive proof, the ley line hypothesis offers a tantalizing glimpse into the possibility that the forest's mysteries may stem from forces yet to be fully understood. Pareidolia and sensory deprivation. Amidst the geological and energetic theories, psychological factors provide a critical lens through which to interpret the forest's haunting nature. Cognitive psychologists have studied eyewitness accounts, uncovering patterns consistent with pareidolia, the brain's tendency to impose meaningful patterns on random stimuli. For example, the flickering shadows cast by moonlight filtering through dense foliage might be misinterpreted as ghostly figures, while the rustling of leaves could easily morph into whispers. Such perceptual distortions are amplified by the isolation and sensory deprivation inherent to deep forest exploration. The absence of familiar landmarks, coupled with limited visibility and ambient noise, heightens suggestibility, making individuals more prone to experiencing hallucinations or interpreting ambiguous events as supernatural. Controlled experiments simulating forest-like conditions have reinforced these insights. Participants exposed to dim lighting, restricted visibility, and ambient noise frequently reported sensations of being watched or hearing unexplained sounds, despite knowing they were in a controlled laboratory setting. These findings underscore the importance of considering psychological influences when evaluating claims of paranormal activity. Yet, they also raise a provocative question. Does the forest's eerie atmosphere arise solely from the mind's predisposition to find meaning in chaos? Or does it serve as a conduit for forces that elude current scientific understanding? The interplay between psychology and environment blurs the line between perception and reality, leaving the forest's mysteries tantalizingly unresolved. Among the most perplexing phenomena reported within the forest are temporal distortions, subjective experiences of time passing more slowly or quickly than normal. Survivors describe moments when hours seem to stretch into eternity, or entire days vanish without explanation. Scientists speculate that these effects may be linked to the forest's magnetic anomalies, which could interfere with the human circadian rhythm or disrupt neural pathways responsible for processing time. Magnetic fields strong enough to alter device functionality might also influence biological systems, creating a disorienting experience of time dilation. Alternatively, some fringe theories propose that the forest exists at the boundary of overlapping dimensions, allowing brief glimpses into parallel realities where time flows differently. While lacking concrete evidence, these hypotheses highlight the limitations of current scientific frameworks in addressing the full spectrum of experiences reported within the forest. The convergence of geological, energetic, and psychological factors suggests that the forest operates according to rules beyond human comprehension, challenging us to expand our understanding of reality itself. Technology has emerged as both a tool and an obstacle in unraveling the forest's mysteries. Advanced tools like LiDAR mapping and drone surveillance have provided unprecedented insights into its topography, revealing hidden structures and previously undocumented clearings. These discoveries have sparked new avenues of investigation, suggesting that the forest's history may hold clues to its haunting legacy. Yet, these same technologies often fail spectacularly within its confines, succumbing to inexplicable malfunctions or producing data riddled with inconsistencies. Thermal imaging cameras capture fleeting heat signatures resembling human forms, only for them to vanish upon closer inspection. Audio recording devices pick up faint murmurs and indistinct voices, even in areas devoid of human presence. Such anomalies fuel speculation about the existence of entities operating outside the constraints of conventional physics, leaving researchers grappling with questions that defy easy answers. The ongoing investigations into the forest's mysteries reflect a broader tension between skepticism and belief, a dialogue that underscores the complexity of its haunting legacy. While hard evidence remains elusive, the cumulative weight of anecdotal reports, combined with intriguing but inconclusive data, keeps the debate alive. For every rational explanation rooted in geology, psychology, or technology, there exists an equally compelling counterpoint that challenges the boundaries of what we know. The forest's refusal to conform to expectation makes it a potent symbol of the unknown, a place where science meets the supernatural, and neither emerges wholly victorious. Perhaps it is this very ambiguity, this enduring mystery, that ensures the forest will continue to captivate and terrify for generations to come. The living forest, spirits as sentinels at the heart of local legends, lies the belief that the forest is not merely a collection of trees but a sentient entity, alive with spirits who act as guardians of its ancient secrets. Indigenous tribes, whose ancestral roots are deeply embedded in the land, describe these spirits as protectors of the natural world, tasked with maintaining balance and punishing those who disrupt it. One of the most enduring tales speaks of the whispering trees, towering oaks believed to house the souls of ancestors who watch over the forest. According to the legend, these trees emit soft, melodic hums during calm nights, a sign of approval for those who tread lightly and treat the land with care. Conversely, loud cracking sounds or sudden gusts of wind are interpreted as warnings from the spirits, urging intruders to leave immediately. This duality, benevolence for the respectful and retribution for the careless, underscores the forest's dual nature as both sanctuary and sentinel. Elders pass this knowledge to younger generations through storytelling sessions held around ceremonial fires, ensuring that the lessons embedded within the legends remain alive in collective memory. The stories emphasize reciprocity, teaching that the forest demands respect in exchange for its gifts. Hunters are instructed to offer prayers before taking an animal's life, while gatherers must leave behind offerings of tobacco or herbs to express gratitude. These rituals reinforce the idea that the forest is not a passive backdrop but an active participant in human lives, capable of rewarding kindness and meting out consequences. Such narratives serve as moral compasses, guiding behavior and instilling a sense of responsibility toward the environment. In doing so, they blur the line between myth and reality, making the forest's sentience feel tangible and immediate. When European settlers arrived, they brought their own myths and superstitions, which merged with indigenous traditions to create hybrid narratives that continue to shape local culture today. Tales of fae folk, banshees, and other supernatural beings became intertwined with descriptions of ghostly apparitions and cursed grounds, reflecting the settlers' attempts to reconcile their Christian worldview with the unfamiliar landscape. One particularly enduring story tells of a witch who once resided deep within the forest, practicing dark magic that drew ire from neighboring villagers. When she was ultimately executed, her spirit allegedly fused with the land, cursing anyone who dared enter her former domain. This narrative has persisted through the ages, inspiring annual festivals where townsfolk perform reenactments of the witch's demise, complete with bonfires and dramatic monologues. These events serve not only as entertainment, but also as a means of preserving the community's shared history and reinforcing the idea that the forest holds powers best left undisturbed. The blending of beliefs highlights the adaptability of folklore, demonstrating how different cultures can reinterpret and repurpose existing myths to fit new contexts. For instance, the witch's curse shares thematic similarities with indigenous stories of vengeful spirits, suggesting a universal human tendency to personify nature's dangers. Yet, the incorporation of distinctly European elements, such as the witch trials and Christian morality, adds layers of complexity, creating a rich tapestry of cultural exchange. This fusion of traditions underscores the forest's role as a liminal space where boundaries blur, not just between worlds but between cultures, fostering a shared identity rooted in mutual reverence and fear. Superstitions abound among locals, many of which dictate specific behaviors believed to ward off bad luck or appease the forest's spirits. For instance, it is widely held that whistling while walking through the woods invites malevolent entities to follow you home, a belief rooted in the notion that whistles mimic the calls of restless souls. Similarly, placing breadcrumbs or salt at the edge of the forest before entering is thought to create a protective barrier, preventing spirits from crossing into inhabited areas. Hunters and loggers, whose livelihoods depend on the forest, adhere strictly to these customs, often carrying talismans such as silver coins or sprigs of rowan to safeguard against misfortune. Such practices underscore the symbiotic relationship between the community and the forest, a dynamic characterized by mutual dependence tempered by an underlying sense of fear. These rituals extend beyond practical measures, serving as acts of devotion and acknowledgement of the forest's power. They transform everyday interactions with the environment into sacred exchanges, imbuing even mundane tasks with spiritual significance. For example, hunters might whisper prayers of thanks to the whispering trees after a successful hunt, while children are taught to bow respectfully when passing beneath ancient branches. By embedding these practices into daily life, the community ensures that the forest remains a central figure in their collective consciousness, a constant reminder of their place within a larger, mysterious order. Religious institutions have played a pivotal role in shaping how the forest is perceived, often oscillating between condemnation and sanctification. Early missionaries sought to convert indigenous populations by demonizing their spiritual beliefs, portraying the forest as a den of pagan idolatry and demonic influence. Sermons warned congregants of the dangers lurking within its depths, framing the haunting phenomena as manifestations of evil that required divine intervention to overcome. Over time, however, syncretism emerged, blending Christian doctrines with pre-existing folklore to produce unique interpretations of the forest's haunting nature. Churches in the surrounding towns often host prayer vigils for those who have gone missing within the forest, invoking divine intervention to guide them back safely. Some congregations even organize pilgrimages to specific sites within the woods, believing that faith can cleanse the land of its malevolent energies. This dual approach reflects the complex interplay between religion and local beliefs. On one hand, religious teachings provide a framework for understanding the forest's mysteries through the lens of good versus evil. On the other, they acknowledge the persistence of older traditions, incorporating them into rituals that bridge the gap between the sacred and the supernatural. This synthesis allows communities to navigate their fears without abandoning their cultural heritage, creating a nuanced perspective that honors both past and present. The forest as muse artistic expressions further enrich the cultural significance of the forest, transforming its mysteries into symbols of inspiration and introspection. Painters, writers, and musicians draw upon its haunting beauty to craft works that resonate with audiences far beyond the immediate vicinity. Gothic novels set within the forest's shadowy depths explore themes of mortality, redemption, and the fragility of human perception, while haunting melodies composed in its honor evoke feelings of melancholy and wonder. Local schools incorporate these artistic representations into their curricula, encouraging students to engage critically with the forest's legacy while fostering pride in their heritage. Art exhibits and literary festivals celebrating these creative endeavors attract visitors from across the country, introducing outsiders to the forest's mystique and perpetuating its legendary status. Through art, the forest becomes more than a physical place. It becomes a metaphor for the human condition, embodying our deepest fears and highest aspirations. Writers pen verses about the whispering trees, imagining them as wise elders offering cryptic advice to lost wanderers. Musicians compose symphonies inspired by the eerie silence broken only by the rustling leaves, capturing the tension between serenity and unease. Visual artists render the forest in vivid detail, using chiaroscuro techniques to highlight the interplay of light and shadow that defines its character. These creative interpretations ensure that the forest's essence transcends geographical boundaries, becoming a universal symbol of mystery and wonder. The forest in daily life. Perhaps most significantly, the forest's impact extends into everyday life, influencing decisions and behaviors that may seem mundane but carry profound meaning. Parents caution their children against straying too far into the woods, framing these warnings as acts of love rather than fear. Weddings and funerals often include references to the forest, acknowledging its role as a constant presence in the lives of those who call the region home. Even casual conversations among neighbors frequently revolve around recent sightings or unusual occurrences, reinforcing the idea that the forest is not just a geographical feature but a living, breathing entity with a personality all its own. This pervasive influence ensures that the forest remains a central figure in the collective consciousness of its surrounding communities. Whether approached with awe or apprehension, it continues to captivate hearts and minds, its mysteries as timeless as the trees that stand sentinel over its haunted expanse. By weaving together history, spirituality, and imagination, local legends and cultural beliefs act as a bridge between the tangible and the intangible, grounding abstract fears in concrete traditions. And so, the forest endures, not merely as a place of haunting beauty but as a repository of humanity's deepest questions and oldest stories. Or atmospheric anomalies. The consistency of its behavior and the lack of corroborating environmental factors made it difficult to dismiss outright. The orb's rhythmic pulsations and apparent autonomy suggested an intelligence or energy source beyond conventional understanding. This discovery, shared widely across social media platforms, reignited public interest in the forest's mysteries and prompted a wave of amateur investigations, each hoping to capture their own glimpse of the unexplained. Despite these tantalizing findings, skepticism remains a significant hurdle for paranormal researchers. Critics often point to the lack of reproducibility and peer-reviewed validation as barriers to legitimacy. For instance, thermal imaging cameras, while capable of detecting heat signatures, are not infallible. They can be influenced by temperature gradients, humidity levels, and even reflective surfaces. Similarly, audio recordings of whispers or disembodied voices may result from pareidolia, the brain's tendency to impose patterns on random stimuli, or interference caused by nearby electronic devices. Even gravitational anomalies detected by Dr. Marlowe's team could potentially be attributed to localized geological activity, such as underground water movement or tectonic shifts. These alternative explanations highlight the challenges faced by investigators striving to distinguish genuine phenomena from artifacts of perception or technology. Yet, the persistence of consistent patterns across multiple investigations lends weight to claims of paranormal activity within the forest. Researchers have noted recurring themes in their findings: fluctuating EMF readings, sudden temperature drops, and visual anomalies that align closely with eyewitness accounts spanning decades. Moreover, the convergence of seemingly unrelated disciplines, such as physics, psychology, and folklore studies, has created a multidimensional framework through which to examine the forest's mysteries. By integrating diverse methodologies, researchers hope to identify correlations that might otherwise go unnoticed, thereby strengthening the case for supernatural involvement. To address concerns about credibility, some organizations have adopted stricter protocols modeled after scientific research standards. Spectral Insights, for example, now employs double-blind testing during fieldwork, ensuring that data collection and analysis remain unbiased. Investigators are divided into separate teams, each unaware of the other's observations until after the expedition concludes. This approach minimizes the risk of confirmation bias and enhances the reliability of reported findings. Additionally, advancements in artificial intelligence have enabled researchers to process vast amounts of data more efficiently, identifying subtle patterns that human analysts might overlook. Machine learning algorithms trained on datasets from previous expeditions have flagged anomalies that align with known characteristics of paranormal phenomena, providing a quantitative basis for further exploration. The collaborative efforts between professional researchers and amateur enthusiasts have also proven fruitful, fostering a spirit of shared inquiry that transcends traditional boundaries. Online forums and virtual conferences allow individuals from disparate backgrounds to exchange ideas and compare notes, creating a global network dedicated to unraveling the forest's secrets. Citizen scientists contribute valuable insights gleaned from personal experiences or self-funded projects, while academic researchers provide theoretical frameworks and technical expertise. This symbiotic relationship has democratized paranormal investigation, empowering ordinary people to participate in the pursuit of knowledge without requiring institutional backing. One particularly noteworthy collaboration occurred in 2021, when a coalition of researchers from Spectral Insights, Haunting Horizons, and several universities launched Project Nexus, an ambitious initiative aimed at mapping the forest's energetic properties using a combination of traditional and experimental techniques. Over the course of 6 months, the team deployed an array of sensors, drones, and biofeedback monitors, collecting data on everything from electromagnetic fluctuations to physiological responses elicited by prolonged exposure to the environment. Early results revealed intriguing connections between certain locations within the forest and heightened emotional states among participants, suggesting a possible link between geomagnetic activity and subjective experiences of fear or awe. Further analysis indicated that these hotspots coincided with areas frequently associated with paranormal sightings, lending credence to the idea that the forest's haunting reputation may stem from interactions between natural forces and human perception. Project Nexus also incorporated elements of cultural anthropology, recognizing the importance of local legends and beliefs in shaping perceptions of the forest. Researchers conducted interviews with residents, documenting oral histories and examining how narratives evolve over time. They discovered that many contemporary accounts of ghostly encounters bear striking similarities to older myths, indicating a continuity of storytelling traditions that transcend generational divides. This finding underscores the role of collective memory in perpetuating the forest's haunted legacy, raising questions about whether reported phenomena reflect objective realities or culturally conditioned interpretations of ambiguous stimuli. As investigations continue, ethical considerations have come to the forefront of discussions within the paranormal research community. The potential impact of intrusive technologies on fragile ecosystems has sparked debates about responsible stewardship of the forest. Some argue that excessive reliance on high-powered equipment, such as ground-penetrating radar or seismic detectors, risks disturbing wildlife habitats and disrupting delicate ecological balances. Others contend that the pursuit of knowledge justifies temporary disruptions, provided measures are taken to minimize harm. In response, organizations like Spectral Insights have implemented guidelines prioritizing sustainability, including restrictions on vehicle access, limitations on equipment usage, and mandatory environmental assessments before commencing fieldwork. These initiatives aim to strike a balance between advancing scientific understanding and preserving the integrity of the forest as a living, breathing entity. Ethical dilemmas extend beyond environmental concerns to encompass the treatment of individuals who report paranormal experiences. Researchers must navigate sensitive terrain when interviewing witnesses, ensuring that their methods do not exploit vulnerability or reinforce stigma surrounding mental health issues. Paranormal investigators often encounter skeptics who dismiss eyewitness accounts as fabrications or symptoms of psychological distress, undermining the credibility of those brave enough to share their stories. To counteract this marginalization, leading organizations advocate for compassionate, trauma-informed approaches that validate participants' experiences while maintaining rigorous standards of inquiry. Training programs emphasize active listening, empathy, and cultural sensitivity, equipping investigators with the tools needed to engage respectfully with diverse communities. Public engagement represents another critical dimension of paranormal research, bridging the gap between academic rigor and popular fascination. Documentaries, podcasts, and live-streamed expeditions have brought the forest's mysteries to audiences worldwide, fostering dialogue about the intersection of science and spirituality. Educational outreach programs hosted by research teams introduce students to concepts ranging from quantum mechanics to folklore studies, encouraging critical thinking and interdisciplinary curiosity. By demystifying the investigative process, these efforts challenge stereotypes about paranormal research as pseudoscience, positioning it instead as a legitimate avenue for exploring unanswered questions about the nature of reality. At the same time, the commercialization of paranormal investigations poses risks to both authenticity and accountability. Reality television shows and sensationalist media coverage sometimes prioritize entertainment value over factual accuracy, distorting public perceptions of what constitutes credible evidence. High-profile cases involving fraudulent claims or staged encounters have damaged the reputation of reputable researchers, casting doubt on the entire field. To combat misinformation, organizations like Spectral Insights have established certification programs. Certifiable evidence meets stringent criteria for transparency and replicability. Peer review processes ensure that findings undergo scrutiny by independent experts before being disseminated publicly, safeguarding against premature conclusions based on incomplete data. Despite ongoing controversies, the allure of the forest continues to inspire new generations of investigators driven by a shared desire to uncover hidden truths. Advances in technology promise unprecedented opportunities for exploration, from quantum sensors capable of detecting subatomic particles to AI-driven analytics that identify patterns invisible to the naked eye. At the same time, emerging theories about consciousness, alternate dimensions, and non-locality offer fresh perspectives on age-old questions about life, death, and what lies beyond. Whether viewed through the lens of hard science or metaphysical speculation, the forest stands as a testament to humanity's enduring quest for meaning in the face of uncertainty, a place where boundaries blur, possibilities expand, and the unknown beckons with irresistible allure. Ultimately, the story of paranormal investigations within the forest is one of perseverance and partnership, highlighting the power of collaboration to illuminate even the darkest corners of existence. As researchers delve deeper into its enigmatic depths, they remind us that the search for truth is rarely straightforward, and that sometimes, the most profound discoveries emerge not from definitive answers but from the questions we dare to ask. Through their tireless efforts, the forest's spectral phenomena remain a beacon of wonder, challenging us to embrace complexity, honor tradition, and remain open to the infinite mysteries that lie just beyond the edge of comprehension. A fusion of disciplines, the convergence of cutting-edge technology and multidisciplinary methodologies has marked a pivotal evolution in paranormal investigations within the haunted forest. Organizations like Spectral Insights and pioneering researchers such as Dr. Evelyn Marlowe have demonstrated that addressing the forest's mysteries requires more than isolated approaches. It demands a holistic integration of science, folklore, and psychology. Thermal imaging cameras, digital voice recorders, EMF detectors, and custom-built devices designed to measure gravitational distortions represent the technological arsenal wielded by modern investigators. Yet, these tools alone cannot fully decode the forest's enigmas. Their true power emerges when combined with insights gleaned from other fields, creating a multifaceted lens through which to interpret the inexplicable. For instance, Dr. Marlowe's groundbreaking hypothesis linking paranormal activity to space-time rifts exemplifies how blending quantum mechanics with paranormal inquiry opens new avenues of exploration. Her team's detection of irregularities near ancient stone ruins suggests that the forest may serve as a nexus for interdimensional activity, a theory bolstered by concurrent findings from folklore studies. Local legends describing the forest as a liminal space inhabited by spirits resonate deeply with this scientific perspective, reinforcing the notion that cultural narratives often encode truths obscured by time and interpretation. Similarly, psychological analyses of witness accounts reveal patterns consistent with cognitive phenomena like pareidolia and sensory deprivation, yet these explanations fail to account for the uncanny consistency of reported anomalies across different contexts and eras. Together, these disciplines form a tapestry of understanding that neither diminishes nor dismisses the forest's haunting legacy but enriches it with layers of complexity. This integrative approach extends beyond theoretical frameworks to practical applications in the field. For example, Project Nexus, a collaborative effort involving researchers from academia, professional organizations, and grassroots networks, exemplifies how combining diverse methodologies yields comprehensive insights. By deploying an array of sensors alongside ethnographic interviews and biofeedback monitoring, the project identified hotspots where geomagnetic activity intersected with heightened emotional responses among participants. These findings not only validated anecdotal reports of ghostly encounters but also illuminated the intricate interplay between environmental conditions and human perception. Such discoveries underscore the importance of viewing the forest not merely as a physical location but as a dynamic system shaped by the confluence of natural forces, cultural beliefs, and individual experiences. Technology plays a dual role in this endeavor, serving both as a tool for observation and as a subject of scrutiny. Innovations such as machine learning algorithms and AI-driven analytics enable researchers to sift through vast datasets with unprecedented precision, identifying subtle correlations that might elude human analysts. However, the reliance on advanced equipment also raises ethical and methodological concerns. Critics argue that technological artifacts, ranging from lens flares to sensor malfunctions, can inadvertently skew results, necessitating rigorous controls to ensure data integrity. To address these challenges, organizations like Spectral Insights have adopted stringent protocols, including double-blind testing and peer review processes, to mitigate the risk of bias or error. These measures reflect a commitment to scientific rigor while acknowledging the inherent uncertainties of investigating phenomena that defy conventional explanation. Moreover, the democratization of paranormal research through online platforms and citizen science initiatives has broadened participation and fostered innovation. Amateur investigators, armed with affordable yet sophisticated tools like GoPro cameras and motion-activated trail cams, contribute valuable evidence that complements professional efforts. Their grassroots contributions often spark novel hypotheses or highlight overlooked aspects of the forest's mysteries, demonstrating that meaningful discoveries can arise from unexpected sources. Virtual collaborations facilitated by forums and live streams create a global dialogue, enabling researchers to share resources, refine techniques, and build upon one another's work. This collective enterprise transforms the pursuit of knowledge into a shared mission, uniting individuals from diverse backgrounds under the common goal of unraveling the unknown. In essence, the fusion of technology and multidisciplinary approaches has redefined what it means to investigate the paranormal. It acknowledges that the forest's haunting phenomena resist reduction to singular causes, instead demanding a synthesis of perspectives that honors their complexity. By embracing this integrative model, researchers not only advance our understanding of the forest's spectral allure but also challenge entrenched dichotomies between science and the supernatural. The result is a richer, more nuanced narrative, one that invites us to reconsider the boundaries of reality and explore the profound interconnectedness of all things. Balancing discovery and preservation. The pursuit of paranormal investigations within the haunted forest carries profound ethical responsibilities, particularly concerning the preservation of its delicate ecosystem and the respectful treatment of those who share their experiences. As researchers increasingly employ advanced technologies and intrusive methodologies, the potential for environmental disruption becomes a pressing concern. High-powered equipment such as ground-penetrating radar, seismic detectors, and drones can disturb wildlife habitats, disrupt soil composition, and alter fragile ecological balances. The forest, already teeming with biodiversity, serves as a sanctuary for countless species whose survival depends on minimal human interference. Excessive vehicular access and prolonged fieldwork operations exacerbate these risks, threatening to degrade the very environment that sustains its haunting allure. Recognizing this tension, organizations like Spectral Insights have pioneered sustainable practices aimed at mitigating harm while advancing scientific understanding. Guidelines now mandate strict limitations on equipment usage, restricted vehicle access, and mandatory environmental assessments prior to any expedition. These measures reflect a commitment to ethical stewardship, ensuring that the pursuit of knowledge does not come at the expense of the forest's intrinsic value as a living, breathing entity. Equally critical is the need to treat individuals reporting paranormal encounters with compassion and dignity. Witnesses often recount deeply personal and emotionally charged experiences, ranging from fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures to prolonged interactions with unseen entities. For many, sharing these accounts requires immense courage, as societal stigma and skepticism frequently cast doubt on their credibility. Researchers must navigate this sensitive terrain with care, avoiding exploitative practices that prioritize sensationalism over empathy. To achieve this, leading organizations advocate for trauma-informed approaches that validate participants' narratives while upholding rigorous standards of inquiry. Training programs emphasize active listening, cultural sensitivity, and the ethical use of recorded materials, equipping investigators with the skills needed to engage respectfully with diverse communities. By fostering trust and mutual respect, these efforts empower individuals to contribute meaningfully to the investigation without fear of marginalization or ridicule. Public engagement further amplifies the ethical dimensions of paranormal research, bridging the gap between academic rigor and popular fascination. Media portrayals of the forest's mysteries often oscillate between reverence and exploitation, with reality television shows and sensationalist documentaries sometimes prioritizing entertainment value over factual accuracy. This imbalance risks distorting public perceptions, reducing complex phenomena to oversimplified tropes or fabricated encounters designed to captivate audiences. To counteract this trend, educational outreach programs led by reputable researchers introduce students and laypersons alike to the intricacies of paranormal investigation. These initiatives demystify the process, emphasizing the importance of evidence-based inquiry and interdisciplinary collaboration. By fostering critical thinking and intellectual curiosity, they challenge stereotypes about paranormal research as pseudoscience, positioning it instead as a legitimate avenue for exploring unanswered questions about the nature of reality. Transparency and accountability remain cornerstones of ethical paranormal investigation, safeguarding against misinformation and fraudulent claims. Certification programs established by organizations like Spectral Insights ensure that findings meet stringent criteria for transparency and replicability before being disseminated publicly. Peer review processes subject all evidence to scrutiny by independent experts, preventing premature conclusions based on incomplete or flawed data. These safeguards not only protect the integrity of the research, but also uphold the trust placed in investigators by both participants and the broader community. In doing so, they affirm the shared responsibility of researchers to act as stewards of truth, balancing the pursuit of discovery with the imperative to preserve the forest's mysteries for future generations. Ultimately, the ethical framework guiding paranormal investigations reflects a broader commitment to harmonizing human curiosity with environmental and social responsibility. By prioritizing sustainability, empathy, and transparency, researchers honor the forest's dual identity as both a repository of spectral phenomena and a vital ecosystem deserving of protection. This balanced approach ensures that the quest for knowledge remains rooted in respect for the land, its inhabitants, and the stories that bind them together. The forest as a cultural phenomenon. The haunted forest's spectral allure has transcended its physical boundaries, capturing the imagination of audiences far beyond its shadowy expanse. Documentaries, podcasts, and live-streamed expeditions have transformed it into a global icon of mystery, weaving its enigmatic presence into the fabric of popular culture. Shows like Whispers in the Dark and Echoes Beyond have brought the forest's chilling tales to televisions and streaming platforms worldwide, blending cinematic storytelling with real-time exploration. These productions often feature dramatic reenactments of ghostly encounters, expert commentary from paranormal researchers, and raw footage captured during expeditions. While some critics accuse such media of sensationalism, their impact is undeniable. They have introduced millions to the forest's haunting legacy, sparking widespread fascination and debate about the nature of the unknown. Podcasts have emerged as another powerful medium for engaging audiences, offering intimate, conversational explorations of the forest's mysteries. Series like Veil of the Woods and Spectral Threads delve into historical accounts, eyewitness testimonies, and scientific theories, often inviting guests ranging from psychologists to folklorists to provide diverse perspectives. The episodic format allows listeners to immerse themselves in the forest's layered history, episode by episode, while fostering a sense of community through interactive Q&A sessions and listener-submitted stories. Social media amplifies this connection, with hashtags like #ForestMysteries and #HauntedLegends trending during key episodes, drawing in participants from around the globe. Live-streamed expeditions have taken public engagement to new heights, offering viewers a front-row seat to unfolding investigations. Platforms like YouTube and Twitch host events where researchers broadcast their activities in real time, from setting up EMF detectors to analyzing thermal imaging footage. Viewers can interact via chat, posing questions or suggesting areas to explore, creating a collaborative atmosphere that blurs the line between investigator and audience. These streams not only democratize access to paranormal research, but also cultivate a shared sense of discovery. When anomalies appear on camera or peculiar sounds echo through the forest, the collective excitement, and occasional unease, ripples across thousands of screens, uniting strangers in their quest for answers. Educational outreach programs further solidify the forest's role as a cultural touchstone, introducing students to the interdisciplinary nature of paranormal investigation. Workshops and seminars hosted by research teams blend folklore studies, quantum mechanics, and psychology, encouraging young minds to think critically about the intersection of science and the supernatural. Schools incorporate these lessons into curricula, using the forest's mysteries as case studies for exploring broader themes of human curiosity and resilience. By demystifying the investigative process, these initiatives challenge stereotypes about paranormal research as pseudoscience, instead framing it as a legitimate avenue for questioning the boundaries of reality. Through these varied forms of engagement, the haunted forest has become more than a geographical location. It is a symbol of humanity's enduring fascination with the unknown. Its spectral phenomena serve as a canvas for storytelling, scientific inquiry, and philosophical reflection, reminding us that the most profound mysteries often lie just beyond the edge of comprehension. As media, education, and technology continue to intertwine, the forest's legacy grows ever more vibrant, inspiring new generations to peer into its shadows and ask the timeless question, what lies beyond? Guardians of the unknown. Upholding integrity amidst controversy, the commercialization of paranormal investigations has undeniably reshaped the landscape of research within the haunted forest, bringing both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, increased visibility and funding have enabled researchers to deploy advanced technologies and conduct larger-scale expeditions than ever before. Reality television shows, documentaries, and social media campaigns have democratized access to the field, drawing attention to the forest's mysteries and fostering public interest in the pursuit of the unknown. Yet, this heightened exposure has also introduced risks that threaten the credibility and ethical integrity of paranormal research. Sensationalist media coverage, often prioritizing entertainment over accuracy, has led to the proliferation of exaggerated claims and staged encounters, undermining the legitimacy of genuine findings. High-profile cases of fraud, where fabricated evidence or manipulated footage was presented as authentic, have further eroded public trust, casting a shadow over the entire discipline. To combat these challenges, organizations like Spectral Insights have taken decisive steps to establish rigorous standards for evidence collection and dissemination. Certification programs now require that all findings undergo peer review by independent experts before being released to the public. This process ensures that reported anomalies meet stringent criteria for transparency, replicability, and contextual relevance, safeguarding against premature conclusions based on incomplete or misleading data. Additionally, training modules emphasize the ethical use of technology, discouraging practices that exploit environmental vulnerabilities or manipulate participant experiences for dramatic effect. By instilling these principles into the foundation of paranormal investigation, researchers aim to restore confidence in the field while maintaining its core mission of uncovering truth. Collaboration has emerged as another cornerstone of accountability, with reputable organizations forming alliances to promote best practices and shared values. Joint initiatives between professional research teams, academic institutions, and grassroots networks have created a unified front against misinformation. For instance, the Coalition for Ethical Paranormal Research, CPR, was founded to oversee compliance with industry standards, providing a platform for whistleblowers to report unethical behavior and holding violators accountable through public disclosures. These efforts not only strengthen the credibility of individual investigations but also reinforce the collective responsibility of researchers to act as stewards of truth. By working together, investigators can amplify their impact, ensuring that the forest's mysteries are explored with both rigor and respect. Public engagement remains a critical component of this accountability framework, as transparency fosters trust and dispels misconceptions. Educational outreach programs hosted by research teams play a vital role in demystifying the investigative process, teaching audiences to differentiate between credible evidence and speculative claims. Interactive workshops, live-streamed Q&A sessions, and open-access publications invite participation from diverse communities, empowering individuals to critically evaluate the information they encounter. By fostering a culture of informed curiosity, researchers can counteract the influence of sensationalism and reaffirm the value of evidence-based inquiry. Ultimately, the pursuit of paranormal knowledge is not merely a quest for answers. It is a commitment to preserving the integrity of the unknown, honoring the forest's spectral legacy while navigating the complexities of human perception and ambition. The haunted forest stands as a paradox, a realm of spectral beauty and unsettling mystery that defies resolution yet inspires relentless inquiry. Its spectral phenomena, documented through centuries of legend and decades of investigation, continue to elude definitive explanation. From the fluctuating EMF readings and eerie thermal anomalies to the whispered voices and fleeting apparitions, the forest's enigmatic manifestations resist categorization, existing in the liminal space between science and the supernatural. Each expedition into its depths yields new questions rather than answers, challenging researchers to reconcile empirical data with the intangible. The convergence of disciplines, quantum mechanics, folklore studies, psychology, and ecology, has illuminated fragments of truth, yet the full picture remains tantalizingly out of reach. What makes the forest's mysteries so compelling is not their solvability but their capacity to evoke wonder and introspection. They remind us that the boundaries of human understanding are fluid, shaped by our willingness to embrace ambiguity and complexity. The forest's haunting allure lies not in the certainty of its revelations but in the profound questions it dares us to ask. What defines reality? Where does the natural world end, and the supernatural begin? And perhaps most importantly, how do we navigate the unknown with humility and curiosity? As long as these questions persist, the forest will endure, not merely as a place of spectral phenomena but as a symbol of humanity's unyielding quest for meaning in the face of the inexplicable.